Education is very important in our family.
We know that we have to be a part of our child's education.
Everyone works together, student, teacher, parent.
It's just a very accepting and nurturing environment.
It's like a family.
It's all part of making sure that she gets the best possible education with her learning disabilities.
We've just been really thrilled with what we've experienced.
My child is having success.
You see that there's hope.
It's made a great difference in our quality of life.
That wouldn't happen anywhere else.
You know, I don't know what I would have done without Churchill.
It's a school that's started for children who have difficulty learning in a traditional learning environment. We really focus on an individual approach to learning, believing that each child has the potential to learn and the right to an education. Our belief is that every child is an individual, and we have to find the right way to access the way that they learn. There's no one way for each child. There's a whole range of different approaches and techniques that each teacher takes the time to figure out and develop our approach for the year. We're not going to make it easy for them, but we will help them along every step of the way and make sure that they have the opportunity to take advantage of that and to possibly have learning become easier because they believe in themselves a little bit more and realize that they can do that.
Life for Kaylee before was in a classroom with up to maximum of 30 kids.
As David progressed on through, it was becoming quite apparent that he wasn't keeping up and was having more and more difficulty, especially with the reading elements.
Nothing got finished, and it doesn't matter, it could have nothing to do with school. It could be from drawing a picture to making a clay pot to anything. Not a single thing got completed.
The teachers would just have no time for it, so she just fell through the cracks.
A child who does that every year is going to start thinking that they're extremely different than his peers.
I'm not the same mom. Why am I different? Why do I have to leave reading and go to another class or a small group when everybody else is doing it? Why am I different?
The other students wouldn't play with him. I didn't realize how lonely he was until grade 6.
So his behavior started to deteriorate, and oftentimes he would become disruptive in the classroom.
I think we were speed dial number 2 on the principal's phone. And
Every day it was something, you know.
It wasn't fair to the other kids in the class. It wasn't fair to the teachers. It wasn't fair to Lauren. It wasn't fair to us. I mean,
She needed so much attention.
to the point where one day a teacher was brutally honest with him and says, I can't teach her, you gotta look elsewhere.
You're just destitute. Where do you go? What do you do? Who do you call?
It was a difficult decision, but we decided to look for other alternatives to the traditional classroom. When we came up the steps of Churchill Academy, we were extremely defeated. We had lost sight of the dreams that we had for a productive, independent, young person. We really didn't know where David would end up. As soon as I walked into this school, I saw the environment, and it was as much like a traditional school setting as anybody would ever want. They were participating, they were happy. There was nobody crying or screaming. It was just extremely reassuring.
Within days, we saw change already, just in none of her life skills, but just in the fact that she was happier. She had someone that talked to her during the day, someone that cared about her during the day, someone that checked if she took things home, and all those issues. We noticed changes very, very quickly.
And the class size is really key. When you get down to 6 or 7 kids in class, you really can't sit back. They recognize it if you're daydreaming, not doing your work. And Lindsay, on that kind of a class size, will do her work. Like she can do her work.
And I like the small class. I like having the opportunity to, see all of the kids several times during one class period. I love it.
You couldn't pay me to have 30 kids in my class. I wouldn't want it. I would not enjoy it. And the fact that I have 5 in my class, they get the program that they need, which I like the fact that I think I'm making a difference.
What's really great is that the school modifies everything to what her learning style is and what her speed is. Some things she may be a little bit ahead of with some kids, The nice thing about it is everything is individualized for each child.
In other schools, we'd fight for an individual education plan. Just don't even have that conversation here because they have that assumption that every kid's going to have to be taught in their own way. That's incredible.
Which has reduced anger and aggression and behavioral problems for him because he's not fighting for, hi, here I am. He is where everybody else is.
Like, we go for weeks on end without the phone ringing, and it's just great that, you know, we know that she's at school and everything's okay. We're not waiting by the phone to hear something had happened and we're being brought to the school again.
One of the greatest things about Churchill is that the sense of acceptance that the students have for each other. They just accept everybody's strengths, weaknesses, differences, and it just works.
Being with other children with other learning disabilities such as hers gave her more of a sense she's not alone.
She's got 3 or 4 close friends, and they've been out to the house, so that's good. Very good for her.
He's had experiences here at the school where other kids can recognize that Connor needs a little help standing up for himself, so they will, come to his aid, and that doesn't happen. That didn't happen before.
His dad, a parent teacher, said, he had 3 birthday invitations in one weekend. That's as many birthday invitations as he had the whole 5 years that he's been in public school. He's really found his spot here, and the kids love him.
We can actually log in and see what she's done today and what projects are due.
What her marks were on her last test.
Were.
And all his homework, his assignments are there, as well as comments from the teachers.
What some of them will do is email me at home to kind of say, just a heads up, this happened today.
You have an open door here. If there's any concerns at all about your child's progress, they're available every day.
Reading ability has really, really increased from the one-on-one attention and from the resource reading. When you can get a student who couldn't read to be able to read, that's a big thing.
They may sound a word out and it could be completely wrong, and they just keep going like it makes no difference in the world. And so like being there and saying, no, now did that sentence make sense? And making them go back, because they're mostly kids who really need to think about their reading in order to start comprehending. It takes some time and lots of encouragement.
Now all of a sudden, a paragraph is more than 4 words. She's writing paragraphs that are a few sentences at a time. She's actually starting to learn things. Not just be comfortable, not just be in a safe environment, not just have friends, but it's education.
What takes one person an hour to do, it takes her 3 hours to do. So it doesn't matter how long it takes you to do something, as long as you can complete it and you do it. And that's one of the things that I learned.
They don't accept that they can't.
Here's what I expect. It's very predictable. You know it. We're going to revisit it. So now I'm counting on you, right? And he didn't have that, somebody kind of holding him accountable like that prior to coming here.
And it works.
It's funny because yesterday I had him reading and he came to bigger words. He's like, well, what's this? It's a big word. Yep, you're doing better now. Now it's going to get harder. That stinks. I should have stayed stupid.
We have an amazing gym that we're able to incorporate into our curriculum structure here with including phys ed in almost every aspect of the grades. It breaks up the day for these guys, and it allows them to really refocus on their academic courses, because it gives them a chance to shed some of the sometimes negative energy, I guess, that kind of crops up from time to time during classes.
Outings are always fun, field trips,
At Christmas I took them out to the superstore to make cookies. They all had fun doing that.
And they recently went on a ski trip, and
She was quite proud to come home and tell us that she was probably one of the first kids to get off the bunny hill and get to go to the top of the hill and ski.
these were very big highlights for Kaylee and made her really glad that she's here.
These students understand that we believe in them and that we know that they're capable of whatever they want to do. And they carry themselves differently. They start enjoying school again. Their self-esteem really starts to rise. They become students and contributing members of society, and they realize some doors will now be open that weren't open before. And as long as they continue to work as hard as they can, that people will help them, achieve the goals that they're trying to set in place.
Pat said that his philosophy and the philosophy for the school was to make sure that every kid who came through these doors, when they left, knew what they were good at. And that's just fantastic.
There's no empty promises here, but I'll tell you, it's certainly encouraging to think that he will reach his goals.
We hope that we can keep her at Churchill
Yeah, absolutely.
as long as she's in school, because I think she will really have a much better chance to succeed in the world with an education from Churchill Academy.
David is productive all day, and to see the progress is just amazing.
I think maybe our family noticed it most dramatically. They just said, whatever Andrew's doing, it's the right thing. We see he's so much more confident and sure of himself.
This was a person that always had her head down, and now her head's up. And it's a big, big, big difference.
His retention of information, his interest in how these pieces fit together. I don't know who this kid is. It's so phenomenally different from sitting in the back of the class quietly with 28 other kids.
I don't hear, I can't do it, I'm stupid, I can't do it. I don't hear that, you know? So he is, you know what, he's flourishing.
I'm sure that she still has some social issues, teenage girls,
But it's normal stuff, you know what I mean? It's not the abnormal. It's typical teenager stuff, and that's great. It really is, because that's something that we never really thought we would be able to deal with.
I'm very proud of my daughter. She's pride and joy.
So, Churchill's really brought out his spirit, and you know what, it's a beautiful spirit.